Hello YouTube, this is Andy from All Things Mini, and today I want to have a quick discussion, hopefully quick anyway. I say that and my videos always seem to go about 10 minutes long, but I want to have a quick discussion on a question which is commonly asked, normally by younger people, showing my age, but normally by younger people who are just starting out in the wonderful world of Warhammer 40k predominantly. So that's what I'm going to take a look at, well, a discussion today. And the question is, I'm new to the hobby, which army should I play? Now, I believe that that's your first mistake. First of all, you'll say, you tell me which army I should be playing. You tell me which army I should be spending my money, and it will be an awful lot, depending on your sources of supply, that I should be playing. And as I said, the first question is not a good question really. Basically, when you start off in 40k, you will be, bamboozled by a large amount of armies. You've got the Space Marines, and they're separated into their individual chapters. You've got the evil ones like Chaos and Dark Eldar. Then you've got the incredibly overpowered, and we'll get into a discussion about that later, but you get the incredibly overpowered and righteous Grey Knights, who are again another form of Space Marine. And then you get the basically sort of the madness from the Orcs, the overwhelming odds from Tyranids, also the overwhelming odds from the pie plates people, and if you don't know what a pie plate is, it's referred to the templates that you use on like blast templates from Imperial Guard. Every army has its pros and cons, and I cannot state this more hard enough that it's a personal preference. You have to see which army you like, and the main sort of factors you can consider would be the background of the army, the fluff, the background. What were they like in the story? You also might want to consider the actual look of the models. Are the models good looking? Will they be easy to paint if you're not a painter? Will they be hard enough to paint if you do like painting? Do you have options for conversion and stuff like that? And then you've got playing styles. Do you like an army that's really right up in your face, or do you like an army that will just basically pummel the enemy from huge amounts of attacks, commonly known as like a leaf blower army? And then, then it's the personal preference. Do I like a good army? Do I like an intermediate army, or do I like an evil army? It's all these things that you've got to weigh out. Now, the one thing I would certainly suggest, don't ask people which army should I play. Get advice on playing styles. If you're basically looking to play with an army, if you just want to paint these things up, what else have you, then get which ones that you find the most aesthetically pleasing. Now, I will discuss in this video today the aspects that I chose for my armies. I've got two main armies and sort of two armies which I do and will play with eventually. Well, one of them I don't know what's going on, but still. So without further ado, these are the reasons for my choices. Okay, so first of all, right here, a nice picture, hopefully, will be Spaceballs. Now, Spaceballs are my main army. A lot of people will say, Spaceballs are overpowered, Spaceballs do this, that and the other. I mean, there are certain aspects, but there are certain aspects with all armies that you might see, that's a little bit overpowered, or that's not very good. Basically, I chose Spaceballs because of my brother's friend, Richard, who gave me a load of Spaceballs models. You might have noticed some Terminators from episode 2 of All Things Mini, when I just had a little slideshow of each of my models. And basically, the old style, Spaceballs got me into it, and I liked the way they look. And as time went on, and I bought my Lehman Russ, I liked the fluff. I like the background of the Spaceballs. I like the fact that they're obstinate, they're barbaric, and there's Norse and Nordic mythology all the way through the army. They're quite Nordic. They're quite sort of, you know, like Viking-y and stuff like that, and I like that. I also like the structuring of the army. You have an honour guard with whoever's in charge of the army, like Ragnar Blackmane or Logan Grimnar, and you have his wolf guard, who are an honour guard, the Terminators, and they are pretty hard. And then on top of that you've got, I mean, as all Terminators are, then on top of that you've got the Devastator squads, which are called the Longfangs, and they're separated from from having to mix heavy weapons in tactical marines. Because if you do that, if you know, if your heavy weapon man's going to have to fire that weapon, you can't move that squad. So, you know, the type of play I do like, you know, move my long fangs, and then, you know, set them up and then rain death upon the enemy. I like the fact then you've got the Grey Hunters, who are the tactical marines, and they can hold objectives and what else have you. And I like the impetuousness and the ferocious charge of the or sort of the berserk charge of the Blood Claws. Now each one of those sections has their own pros, and sometimes they have their own cons, and it's just one of those things you have to find out if it's your playing style. So that would be the main reason. I also, you know, as I said, I like the way the models look and stuff like that for Spaceballs. Now my second army they're a real laugh, and those are the Orcs. Now back in when I got into it, suddenly mainly I got into it in first ed, but let's say, you know, I took over sort of buying my own models and stuff like that in second ed for a structured purpose, because I used to buy models before then, but still. In fact, before first ed, in fact, shows how old I am really. But basically, Space Orcs, as they were known then, but Orcs now, were nothing more than comic relief. They did stupid things. They had stupid units who could do stupid things. More often than not, you'd end up killing off half of your unit from trying to do something. Now, it's a good thing, but I mean, if you want to spend, because you're spending a lot of money, because they're a horde army and you need an awful lot of them to do what you need them to do. The problem is that, you know, when you're talking about, you know, 15, 20, maybe up to 30 or 40 pounds price tags for these kind of things, I suppose you can get a bit fed up for just comic relief, because that's an expensive comic relief. You might as well just go and get yourself a, you know, a funny DVD or something like that. So I think Games Workshop, I mean, I don't know, but when I got back into it, I think Games Workshop might have sort of sorted this aspect out, because when I got back into it, as I said, going back a couple of years ago, the Orcs have got a serious sting in their tail. They are vicious if played correctly and if they get to you. You know, I'll break it down for you. Another aspect that I like about them, like, you know, like the separating of the armies for the types for the Spaceballs. For Orcs, you have units of boys, normal boys, doesn't matter what they are. I'm just going to take the real bog standard unit of just normal boys. More often than not, you will face them with 2 handheld weapons. That gives you 1 6-sided dice or a d6 extra onto any attacks. They've got 2 base attacks, and they get an extra 1. I mean, of course, this is pre-new rules which are out this weekend. But basically, they get an extra attack for a charge. So they've got one model, 1 Orc, will have 4 d6. And they've got ferocious charge and whatever have you, and that gives you an extra sort of bits and pieces, but still, we won't cover that now. Now, what does that mean? If you've got a unit of 30 boys that these can amount to, they will thunder into you. If you can get them there, now more often than not, a lot of them won't get there, but if you can get them there as a unit of 30 Orc boys into attack, hand to hand, you are rolling a 120 d6 dice. Now, probability wise, you are going to do some serious damage. I will also give you an example of, I played against a young lad, and you will also notice with the Orc, a lot of Orc players will be older players, a lot of young players will more likely become Space Marine players, which is quite sad because although Space Marines are quite forgiving and what else have you, you're not adapting yourself tactically, because other armies like Eldar are a very finesse specific type of army, and you can't do half the things you do with Eldar that you can do with Space Marines, but still that's something completely different. But yes, I went against a young lad who had an army, a Space Marine army, and I had my Orcs, so I thought I was just going to have a bit of a laugh. And in that was Gasco Thraka, who is the prophet of the war and all that business. He's the big boy, he's the big bully of the Orcs, because they've got a very bullying hierarchy where they basically, if you're bigger and stronger than the little ones, then you're in charge. You know, it's a real sort of, you know, schoolboy naughty army to get involved with. But still, anyway, this lad drove up his Land Raider towards me, and before, you know, he drove them up, and after that he was going to unleash a load of Thunderhammer Terminators into a group of Orcs and, you know, Knobs and Gasco. I managed to get a charge off. Gasco went in, he's got a great big claw, he smashed the thing and blew it up in basically one hit. Shows how hard Gasco is. Now, you know, more often than not, you might not be facing against someone like Gasco because, you know, as I said, he is really quite hard, although he does have his downsides also. So yeah, Orcs, I chose them because they're a bit of a laugh. You know, they do stupid things, they've got funny units, they've got funny technology, they've got a very nasty sting in the tail so long as you can get it off, and also the models are pretty cool, really. Real naughty boy type of stuff. Now, my third army were my Chaos army. I chose them because I normally go for goodies and stuff like that, and this time around I thought, well, yeah, I might as well go for something not so good, go for the opposite side, and it's sometimes nice just to get a refreshing change, and that's the main reason why I chose them. I like the models, I love the models of like the Bloodthirster and stuff like that. I mean, I think they're absolutely fantastic, and if you go to Forge World, I absolutely adore their Bloodthirster model, which is absolutely huge, and I really wouldn't mind to get one of those. I'm going to have to save the pennies and an awful lot of them for it. So there's Aberdeen, they've got very good fluff, you know, backgrounds. They've got good characters like Aberdeen the Spoiler. He's pretty nasty, full stop. Lucius the Eternal, he's nasty. Fabius Bile, Typhus, you know, you've got all these other, you know, all these things. They've got their demons and stuff like that. I try not to have them I don't think I should have ever put a separated demon army. Back in the day you used to be able to summon demons and stuff like that. I still think you can, you know, summon the greater ones and stuff like that. I think it should have been like that, but still, anyway, you know, we have to see what kind of upgrade they get when they get their Codex upgrade, because they are in need of one. So I chose Chaos because of the background, some of the, you know, the characters, and the fact that, you know, it's a bit of a refreshing change from my Spaceballs. And last but not least, I tried to make an Inquisition army, and that was how it was going to be a mixture of Grey Knights and Sisters of Battle. I like the way either play. I still think that Grey Knights are overpowered. Of course, there's a comments section below. If you agree with me, then fantastic. If you don't, then fantastic. Whatever. You know, everybody's allowed to their own view. I think that Grey Knights are overpowered. The models are beautiful. They're really nice and ornate. The Sisters of Battle are very good, but it's a shame they don't have their own codex. It's a White Dwarf codex, which I think really lets them down. But they've got some good units and stuff like that. But as I said at the very beginning of most likely this 20-odd minute ramble, basically, it's a shame really, because I don't know where I'm going with these. And you might find that you have that issue. You think to yourself, fantastic, I want to go with this, and then you think, I don't know where I'm going with that. And it's a bit of a shame. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. So I've got two main armies. Well, my real main army, of course, the Spaceballs. Then the Orcs, because they're just fantastic. Then Chaos, and then maybe some, you know, Inquisition, depending if I can do it. But of course, as I've said in a lot of earlier videos, and if you follow my blog, I've made a good shift to Warhammer now, because I do like the way it plays, and the rules are like the older style rules that I used to play for Warhammer 40k, that is. So anyway, as I said, it's, you know, to summarise, it's personal preference. It's very important that you know, it's personal preference. You have to find out what kind of styles you'd like. Ask on the forums, ask friends, ask GW staff, or maybe if you don't have a GW store near you, informed individuals from independent places, because, you know, let's not forget there's a bit more than just GW stores there. Ask people, find what you like. If you want Horde, be prepared to pay a lot of money. If you don't want Horde, then be prepared not to go out, to be outnumbered each time you fight. Basically, there's all these kinds of issues. But the main thing is just think what you want to do and what you think you are going to enjoy the most, because that's the most important thing of this, is enjoyment. Anyway, that's that. As I said, I've most likely prattled on for far too long for a short video. I shall catch you later.